All right, ready? Hey everyone, James Reeves. Thanks for tuning in to
Jim Ports.
Jim Ports. What a stupid
Hi,
name.
I'm Jim Ports.
Hi, hello, I'm Jim Ports. Welcome to Jim Ports. Today's guest is Aaron. Aaron's a good friend of mine. Aaron is also an exporter with Bulldog Auto. We're in Tokyo. If you want a car from Japan, this is the man to get it from. Let's talk about the first car that I ever bought from you. That would be a Keiji Dosha, a Kei car. I bought a Subaru Sandbar. We did a video together on that and like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, which surprised me because there's a lot of content out there. But I think it's because, you know, we had the flavor. We had
spice, flair,
spice it up a little bit.
All-encompassing sexual prowess. We had it all.
We had that sexy-ass Kei van. Is buying a Kei vehicle a good idea, especially if I live in the United States?
A Kei vehicle can be a good idea. It all depends on use case. So you have to understand, when you're buying a Kei vehicle, they're 660cc engines at best. Some of the older ones even had smaller engines. So they're going to have some limitations as far as speed and size. If you need to do a lot of highway driving, not the car for you. If you live in a beach community where your maximum speed limit is 35 miles an hour and that is 99% of all the driving you do, a Kei van could be for you. If you have a little flower shop and you want a cute little promo vehicle.
No, it's a great idea.
That is really for you. If you have a little farm and you just want a little runaround instead of a ATV or something like that, it's a good idea. It's just a small little vehicle, so you have limitations. Be realistic.
If you have it as a second car, and very importantly, it's legal for you to use it for the purposes you want to use it for in your state. Let's say it's illegal in Georgia, for example, and you buy one for your farm. Then that really doesn't matter because, you know, you don't need a street legal car. You can just buy one, use it as a little run around your farm. If you're using this as a second car and you don't need to drive it on the road, they're cheap as hell, right? Just get one. Enjoy it. You're going to have a great time. I promise you. Your friends will love it. They will hold you in higher esteem.
They come in all shapes and sizes. They have little sports cars, little vans, little pickup trucks. But just make sure you're buying the right vehicle for what you intend to use it for.
Right. Now, the next level, you're buying it as a second car. You want to drive it on the road. Things get a little bit trickier, but all you got to do is make sure that it's legal in your state.
First step.
Just something fun that you're going to like blast around downtown, try to pick up chicks or dudes, whatever you're into.
Or they thems.
Yeah. Whatever, man.
Whatever yeah. 20 bucks is 20 bucks.
Yeah, but they're fun. They are fun as a second vehicle. Now, things get dicey if you're one of those people out there who are like, hey, I want to use this as a primary vehicle. And I say that for a number of reasons. First of all, man, if that's your budget and you need to have a car, and that's all you can get, and that's all you can do. I mean, there's really no.
Buy a used Toyota.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just don't. If you need to buy this as an only car and you need to drive on the interstate, don't. Do not. Like, dude, you will blow this thing up if you're driving interstate speeds. If you can even get there.
You have to understand. Firstly, if you're in the United States, 99 times out of 100, you're buying a car that's 25 years old, so it's an older vehicle to begin with, and it's small. And it has some limitations. So just make sure that you're buying it with the right intentions in mind.
Yeah, and if you're buying it as a primary vehicle in a community where parking's difficult, maybe you're able to park a small car somewhere like downtown or whatever. If you're not needing to drive in the interstate, actually a pretty good option. I mean, these cars are very efficient. It's very Japanese. It's like my hotel room. I'm staying in a 140 square foot hotel room, but it's got everything I need, and it's so well laid out that it's like, damn, you know, it's better than a Holiday Inn Express back in the States. You know, it's like it's very well thought out. And they are wonderful vehicles. And they're cheap. I mean, look, if I wanted to buy an average, like a fair to Midland Kei car, how much am I going to spend, Aaron?
You're probably looking at 800,000 to 900,000 Japanese yen for kind of average examples. Let's say $5,000.
Yeah.
$5,000 or $6,000. And that's shipped. You know, you have taxes and registration fees and things on your side. So they are quite affordable. Just make sure it's the right car.
I got, again, a museum quality Subaru Sandbar with 10,000 kilometers on it. I mean, just like basically a new car. I think I got for like $9,000 shipped.
Yeah, that one was about $9,000. I think it had 16,000.
Yeah, that's right.
About 10,000 miles.
Yeah, God, yeah, you're. That's right. About 10,000 miles.
10,000 miles. That's kind of an extreme example. Those are. That's an outlier, but you know, an average example, 50, 80,000 kilometers, not too high mileage, still very serviceable, in good shape. You know, you're gonna get something at a good price. It still has a lot of life left in it.
If you can get a Kei car and it's legal for the purposes you want to use it for, if you're not driving it on the interstate, it's not going to be your primary vehicle. You're not the fucking Partridge Family or whatever, you know, Brady Bunch, with like, a bunch of shit and kids and stuff you need to haul around. They are wonderful. They're wonderful. They're a great time. They're charming. If you need to pick one up, talk to Aaron. He's probably bought hundreds of them. He visually inspects everything at the auction, him or someone from his company. So Aaron, you're a good friend of mine. Thank you for being on the program,
sure,
guys. Thanks for watching. Jim Ports. Bye.